LaRue, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I highly recommend everyone to subscribe to his YouTube channel. His segments are amazing. You'll really enjoy them.
Ladies and gentlemen, today it's episode 738. That's right, episode 738 of the one and only KeithAndrewNetWork. Today we have LaRue on the show. She's a professional actress, former NYPD officer, and she has a fantastic story she's going to share with us today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the KeithAndrewNetWork, available on all social platforms, and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Without any further ado, thank you for watching the KeithAndrewNetWork. Let's go to the very first one again. Tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
I am a retired New York City police officer, and have been interested in acting since I'm a little kid, actually. I was in an off-Broadway play, and I got mugged and beat up on the way home. My dad made me quit, and I had the lead role. I was like, Pop, are you serious? You make me quit this? But he was from off the boat, Italy, and he did what he said. When he said jump, you say how high, and that's it, you know? So then he wanted me to be a cop. I became a cop instead of going to law school, which I got into. And I loved it. But now I'm doing what I really, really love, and that's acting.
No, absolutely. First off, I want to say thank you for your service.
Oh, no worries. It was my honor and a pleasure.
How many years? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying it was an honor and a pleasure. It was on for 17 years. And the reason I quit is because I almost got killed. You know, 9/11, just before 9/11, I thought it was, you know, a bad thing, but it actually saved my life because several people from our precinct were killed, so I would have been there. And my husband was actually there at 9/11, so it was two walking miracles.
No, absolutely. Hey, if I was gonna be almost killed on a job, I'll say, "Now the hell is this? I don't need it."
Exactly.
But you do bring up a subject I do want to ask you about. If you're all right with that, what can you tell us about that day?
When
on September
I got hurt?
On September 11th.
It was the most surreal, crazy thing. It's like you couldn't believe that was happening. Like everything was just, the world was just falling apart, and people were screaming and yelling all over the place. My husband was a first responder. He was there, and a street worker, like an electrician, handed him a mask. It looked like it, you know, with a big nozzle and everything like that, and it looked like something from an alien. And that literally saved his life, you know? That mask that some angel gave him saved his life. He would have been inhaling all of it. It's crazy. It's just nuts.
Well, let me ask you. Well, the first question I want to ask you is, before September 11th, what were some of your greatest accomplishments? And do you think 9/11 was a wake-up call, say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. Do you think that was like the proverbial wake-up call?
Oh, for sure. That was like the last straw. That was, like they say, the straw that broke the camel's back. We made a decision. We made a command decision after my husband came home after several days of that, you know, being down there at 9/11. We came home and we had a discussion about it, and it was like, yeah, we need to get out of here. But we miss it. We loved the job. We loved everything like that. But it just was like, how many close calls can you have? That was pretty close.
No,
you have to acknowledge that somebody's telling you something. You wanted to do this, and you wanted to always do what you love anyway, so just go ahead and do it. Take a leap of faith, do it. It's going to be worth it.
No, absolutely. And then you can see the same thing about if you were actually I almost said NYPD, but in a firefighter, how many close
Yeah, for sure.
calls,
Yeah,
until you say, you know what,
right.
someone's waving in front of your face, say
That's
it's
right.
time.
You have to finally say it's time. Yep. Your life is more important.
No, absolutely. Now the next question I want to ask you is, has being a police officer defined and has it left an impression on your life? Like, do you think, since you've been a cop, you've been living
Yeah.
better, you learn, not learn more, you appreciate things a little more?
Yes, definitely. You appreciate things a lot more, and you have a different outlook. Like how we call it street smarts to my kids, because sometimes we just shake our heads. The things they do, like they're scary. Like they need to. We have to sit them down and tell them, look, you have to be, not that you can't um, not trust people, but sort of you have to be on guard. So it teaches you. I grew up in Brooklyn anyway, so I was always street smart to begin with. But on top of that, being a cop gives you a skill, I'll say a skill set that you come away with, that it's like a thing that makes your life great, because you have this way of reading people. Like I could be in a room and I can, not that you judge people, but you can tell what's going to happen 10 seconds before it's going to happen. And it's important when you're in a situation that you need to know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
So,
agree. My dad's really good at body language and reading people.
exactly.
I'm still
Exactly. So,
learning about that.
yeah, I'm sure you know more than you're saying, because you pick it up.
No, absolutely. I tell people it's the first 10 seconds of making an impression on somebody.
That's right.
But if you line two people up, you can not say it's always good to judge people,
Yeah.
but by looking at like someone like you and someone who's covered in tattoos, you can sum up, okay,
Yeah.
which one has more problems, or which one or is most has most problems and most likely to go
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But the next one I want to ask you is, what is the biggest change? I haven't done my show as a way, so I'm real rusty. What is the biggest change you want to make if you are a still active cop? Because you see the news, what is your opinion? You know, Politics really doesn't have a place. Your job as a police officer, and you should know, your
Yeah.
job as a police officer is protect people. It isn't about, oh, if you're a Trump supporter or if you
No,
like
absolutely not.
Ambrosio. It's about
That
getting
shouldn't matter. Yeah. It's like, what flavor ice cream do you like? Does it matter? You can still work together and everyone can play together. But when you start separating things like that, that's when you put people on edge, and you start making people have anxieties and issues with each other. It's not the way to do it. It's not the way to be. That was wrong, stupid thing, saying defund police because of one person that did something that we don't know the whole story. You're getting bits and pieces from here and there. And let me tell you something. I've been on the other side of the fence where, I've gotten beatings, and then somebody wants to come along and say, what did you do? I did nothing. So I know what it's like, and I know how cops' lives are very difficult. And to judge them and to say all these awful things that people say, it gets me sick. Okay, there are some cops that do the wrong thing, but you can't say everyone is wrong because of that. That's just ignorant people that say that.
I agree with you
My opinion, that's
110.
ignorant people.
That's the one thing about myself, freedom, speech, uncensored. And I agree with you 100%. Every time I ring up, I used to work at Walmart. When I used
Yeah.
to ring up a police officer, or anyone in the Army, I would
Right.
say thank you for your service. I appreciate it.
Exactly. That's the way you were raised, with manners and respect. That's what's lacking today. People don't have manners, respect, or common sense. That's the problem. Like everyone wants to talk about now, the new thing is reparations. Reparations for what? My father came to this country as an immigrant and he made it on his own, you know? And he learned to speak English on his own and he made a life for himself. You know, and when you work hard and it feels good to know you did it on your own. But when you stand there with your hand out, what does that say about you? I don't know. I'm just not into that. Helping people is one thing, but doing everything for them doesn't help. You know the saying, teach a man to fish, feed him forever. Feed a man, feed a man a fish, and that's it. He's going to always be with his hand out.
But what's the other one? You can bring a horse to water, but doesn't mean
Exactly. Exactly. Right. That's right. True.
No, absolutely. Now, the next one I want to ask you is looking for a good one. What would you consider? I don't want to ask you all cop questions. I do apologize, but I love the NYPD. I always want to have more officers on the show. Maybe you can put a good word in for me.
Oh, yeah.
But the next one I want to ask you is, what do you consider the highlight of working for the NYPD?
The highlight is
of your career.
Basically everything. I mean, I was blessed to work in the greatest precincts, one of which is Midtown South, right in the heart of Times Square. And it's actually where I met my husband. And I didn't know he was going to be my husband then. Years later, we met again. And I tell you, it was the greatest command. And I went on so many details and met so many people, dignitaries, and working at the UN, guarding the UN, and so many things that I've been on. It was, I guess the absolute best part was meeting my husband.
Did you ever want to be like a captain, or I almost said commander?
Well, I did put in for them. I did take the test, but I didn't do well because each and every time I had to take the test, there was something going on in my life. But my husband was a lieutenant, and he did get on the captain's list. But when 9/11 hit, we made the decision to leave, and he didn't stay. And our family at first was thinking we're crazy, but it was a decision that we made based on what I told you would happen, 9/11, and all these things were happening. And then I had gotten pregnant with our first son. We just didn't want to stay there anymore. No.
Well, if your husband's I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
But I was going to say, if your husband's interested, he's more than welcome to be a guest. The more, the better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's actually outside right now.
Well, it's a saying he's welcome to join us, or we can do a double interview next time. But
that would be fine. That'd be great. We could do a double interview next time.
No, absolutely. Now, the next question I want to ask you, when you started your acting career,
yes,
what is your biggest opinion about police shows? You know, the NYPD Blue.
I love it. I love it.
No, absolutely. So NYPD is really great, and my favorite personally is Blue Bloods.
Yes, mine is Blue Bloods too. I was going to say my favorite is Blue Bloods. Yeah, I love it. But not only because of Tom Selleck, but it's realistic. It's very realistic.
Oh, that's the question I was going to ask you. Do you think it's realistic to what you guys go for every single day, or do you think it's
kind of close? No, it definitely is. I mean, they have some good insight. Who's ever given them information? It's good.
So what made you want to be an actor? I know when after 9/11, you said you didn't want to be a police officer anymore, but what was it at that moment when you were deciding what you wanted to do? What made acting so appealing?
No, as I said, I've always been involved in acting, even when I was younger. But now, after I'm living here in Florida, I've been getting the bug, and I was doing a lot of plays and neighborhood theaters and stuff. And finally, I decided, I want to get more into TV and movies. And then I started joining the film clubs and backstage castings and all these castings, and I got I got an agent. I'm with Jennifer David, and I'm doing pretty good. I've been getting a lot of bookings on TV shows and movies lately, so I'm really happy.
No, I'm really happy
My
for
dream
you.
is coming true. Yeah, my dream is actually coming true. I know my father's up there smiling. Yep.
Now, the next question I want to ask you when we come back from the commercial break is how do you work with people's disabilities when we come back?
I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ellen Dorsch.
Miss Shauna Todd.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Hi, I'm Millie Rose.
There, I'm Tatiana. Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrew's show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. The following is brought to you by the XONE. If you like video games and superheroes and comic books, make sure to check out the XONE. Also brought to you by Life of a Fighter. That's our story. That's your story. Everyone is a fighter in life, so Life of a Fighter. So make sure you check it out. One thing I do want to say is a big shout out to your daughter for making this whole thing happen. It's more than welcome to be on the show. The more than better, and I'm looking forward. If you want, we can do like a group episode. Your daughter, you, and your husband.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
The one thing I do want to point out is I don't really do this in the beginning of the show anymore because I like to shake up the introduction. Somehow after repeating myself after 700 times on my catchphrase, I kind of like to shake it up. But for people... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I know it's mean.
So for people who want to know what is the message behind the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. You never give up and prove people wrong. Show that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. Prove them and stem out something. So hashtag break the labels. I used to do that in the beginning of the shows, but after 700 episodes, saying over and over, it's like, it's not about me, it's about the guests. So I'm now trying to like, hey, if you show
have to incorporate it.
No, absolutely. It's like if you see my episode 700 times, you know the message by now. So that's why I like to shake it up.
Yes, that's smart. I like it.
I have my moments.
And it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. You can't let anything dictate you. Because I was told I would never walk again. And I said, oh yeah? Watch me.
Well, what can you tell us about that story?
Well, that's when I was dragged by a car. And when I was a police officer, that was the final straw. And I was dragged by a car for a couple blocks, left for dead. And I had to go for multiple surgeries. I had to go for physical therapy for 13, 14 years. I finally just stopped it. I go every now and then back and forth and I get injections because I'm in pain still so much. But, I handle, like some people, they get a little headache and they fall down and die. I'm not like that. I've never been like that. My father never allowed us to be weaklings. And some people think that was mean, but it made us stronger, better people. You know, we weren't allowed to cry over a little scratch or something like that. You know, you'd be like, get over it, you know?
Well,
Scream
would
and yell
you,
at us in Italian.
well, would you agree or disagree that this generation it's soft, they're kind of like snowflakes?
Yes. Yes, including my family. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank God I was born in the late 80s, early 90s. You know,
Yeah.
now you sneeze the wrong way, you're going to offend somebody. It's like,
I know.
It's
I
like,
know, especially now. Yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But passing the show over to you, the last thing I want to ask you is, have you, besides me, obviously, have you worked with people with disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities? Passing the show over to you.
Oh, absolutely. I have friends that have disabilities, and I have friends that have children that have disabilities, and working with people with disabilities is not a problem at all. Because the way I see it is everyone is unique and special, and you can't put someone down, belittle anyone because of something that they have. Because, like, for example, someone can have brain issues, autism or something, and you think that they can't comprehend what you're saying, but they do. They do in a different way. You may not understand how they get to it, but how they get to the bottom line, but they do. They understand. And I don't understand people who don't treat people with disabilities, like if they don't treat them with respect. If I see someone doing that, it infuriates me, and I immediately say something about it. Like, I'm that person that I just can't tolerate people being mean to someone. Especially someone with disabilities. That drives me crazy.
You're absolutely right. You know, for me, I'm going to give you an example. You know, I wrote my own lines, but if someone said, here's your script, for me, I was like, okay, for an example, one of the questions, what I asked you is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now. If I didn't know what that meant, it's like, okay, can you break it down? Can you give me an example? Like, the number one is, I always ask my dad, if you're at a four-way intersection, who has the right way to go? And I'm like, okay, can you give me an example? That's how I learn, by breaking down simple things. But the thing is, the problem is, people want you to, jump right, fast, or if you answer a little slow, then they think there's something wrong with you. So you can't please everyone that you come across. But at least the biggest thing is people should have patience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You need patience. You want patience for your own self. This is how you do it. Treat people the way you want them to treat yourself, the way you want to be treated. If you want respect, you give respect. That's the way it works. That's the way I was raised, and that's the way I always am. Like, even, for example, like in the schools, I used to do a lot of volunteering with my kids. And one lady said to me one time, she goes, why do you always talk to that guy for? I go, who? Let's just use the name. I'll use the name John. Okay, so she goes, why are you always talking to John? I go, what's wrong with talking to John? She goes, he's the cleaner. I go, he's the maintenance man. She goes, yeah. So what are you talking to him for? I go, because he's a human being and he's a nice guy. Why, you can't talk to him because you think you're above him? Like, what is the problem with people? I don't understand. You need to, calm down, treat everyone with respect. Everyone deserves the same, the same kindness, the same respect. That's it. If we all do that, this world would be incredible. Don't you think?
No, I agree. There's I don't know if you ever heard of them. It's called Darman. Makes all those videos. And one of them, it's the difference between being a leader and being a boss. A boss is just about me. A leader is you encourage people. You want to be an inspiration.
Exactly. And I believe that so much. Totally. I'm all about that. If I ever was in the position to be a boss, I would be the boss that people love, because you would never know I'm the boss. And that's the way it should be. You know? You don't, by yelling and screaming at people, you don't get anywhere. As a matter of fact, you get nowhere. You know?
No, I agree. By wrapping up the show, I want to ask you, I do have a couple questions off here. First question is, how can your fans follow you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Instagram?
I am. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Rose Ragusa LaRue. And on Instagram, Rose at Rose LaRue Official. And the Instagram is run by my social media accountant, which is my daughter, Jennifer LaRue. She has a company and she runs people's social media accounts, and she runs big companies as well. So all my posts, if you see them, it's because her company is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking to her.
Yeah.
Now, wrapping up her talk show, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people?
Oh, I definitely recommend it to other people. And what made me say yes is when you told me to go to the YouTube channel and look at your YouTube channel, I thought it was so awesome how the interviews that you had with people, very encouraging stories and, very nice, uplifting things you talk about. And I just thought it was great. And especially to help anyone with their project to me, like if I can help you in any way, I mean, that's what it's all about, helping everyone out,
No,
You don't just do things just for yourself in this world, because the person who does that, they think they're going to get ahead, and you're not. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to help everyone, not just yourself.
No, absolutely. It's all about networking and who you know.
Definitely.
Now, wrapping up her talk show, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. So I want to say thank you for your time. And I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.